Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Self-Care Sunday. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So we're going to start by listening to the sound of the bell and taking a few slow breaths together. So let's just take a moment to pause. You can close your eyes if you'd like, or it's fine to keep them open. Just take a few moments to feel your breath moving in through your nose, down into your belly, and back out. So today we're talking about interoception again this week, following up from last week. And interoception is what we're feeling inside of our body. Interoception connects directly to how we handle stress. So first I want to talk about something called the window of tolerance, which is a concept from Dr. Dan Siegel. This window is the space, so think about a window like this. It's the space between my two hands where we feel calm and present, and we have the ability to think fairly clearly. We're able to respond rather than react. So when we're inside our window of tolerance, we feel like ourselves. We feel like we have more access to our best selves, the best version of ourselves. But when stress pushes us outside of that window, so instead of being within this window of tolerance, we go up or down, two things can happen. So either we go up into this overwhelmed feeling, anxious, irritable, having racing thoughts, getting really frustrated or even angry, or so anxious that we start to not be able to handle life and our circumstances and our relationships. We're very, very reactive. Or if we get so overwhelmed that we start to shut down, we'll go below this window of tolerance and we'll go into exhaustion, hopelessness, helplessness, despair, feeling disconnected, feeling numb. Now, most of us move up and down throughout our day in this window of tolerance, within the window of tolerance, but we even throughout our day sometimes go outside of the window of tolerance, either up or down, and that's normal. But what we want to notice is, are we able to fairly easily and quickly get ourselves back into this window of tolerance? And if we're not, if we're finding ourselves stuck either above that window of tolerance or below, we need to notice that. And notice that interoception can really start to come into play. When we start to be able to pay attention to our sensations in our body, we are more able to notice the early signs and signals of stress. As occupational therapist Kelly Mahler teaches us, this is paraphrased, but in interoception, interoception is the foundation of self-regulation. And when we can accurately notice and interpret our internal body signals, we are better able to manage emotions, our behaviors, and just our stress in general. So instead of going from just fine to completely overwhelmed in a second without any thought, we can catch it earlier. And we can catch it by noticing things like maybe we feel a slight tightness in our chest, or maybe we notice that our breathing is a little more shallow. Or we might notice that our jaw is beginning to clench a little bit, or we might feel a little knot in our stomach. And that awareness, well, it gives us something really powerful. It gives us, when we notice it, a chance to pause. And in that pause, we have a choice. This connects really beautifully to the work of Dr. Desautels, which her work really comes from Dr. Stephen Porges and the polyvagal theory. But Dr. Lori reminds us that our ability to regulate begins with awareness of what is happening inside of our bodies. And when we can connect to our internal state, not just like thinking about emotions, but actually feeling them in our body, we actually have the chance to shift it. So in that moment, instead of reacting, like I just said, you can reacting automatically, you can say, oh, you know what? I'm noticing my body is getting a little activated right now. Let me take a breath. Let me interrupt that cycle before it goes into complete overwhelm or reaction. Let me slow this down. And over time with this practice, you will start to expand your window of tolerance. And I know this is true because it's happened in my own life. I've seen it in my own nervous system. You can start to handle stress without feeling so overwhelmed. You don't get pushed as far as fast. You feel like there's a little more space. And when you do get dysregulated, you are more able to come down into regulation more quickly. And that is actually the definition of resilience. This connects deeply and directly to mental health and your mental health state. Because when your window of tolerance gets bigger, you can handle more. You feel less reactive. You feel more grounded. I'm having trouble this morning. You feel more in control and you feel safer in your own body. And this reflects what Maggie Kline, somatic experiencing and practitioner and psychotherapist, teaches us about healing. Healing and self-regulation come with reconnecting with the body. When we can safely feel our sensations, she says, we build resilience and capacity to handle stress. So your mental health improves not because stress disappears. We can't just like bust stress out and get rid of it, right? But our mental health gets better because our capacity to handle it grows. So I want to invite you to do an exercise that we do with kids in schools. I think this is one of the most important things that we do with kids. So I'm going to show you some examples from kids. So I'm just going to pause for a moment and show you some of these. And actually, if you want to just take a moment to grab a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, or bonus, if you have crayons or markers or something like that, you can grab those because it'll really help you if you have color to express how you're feeling. So now let me show you these images from kids. So you can see they've used color and shown different colors in different parts of the body. They've also used words, and these words say good and heavy and hot and cold a little bit, right? Here's one with no words. Here's one with different colors, different words. Sometimes dizzy in my head, hot in my hands, cold in my legs. There's another sensation in the arms that's not labeled. Wobbly, feet are cold. This one you probably can't read the words, but it says happy at the top of the head, sad in the sides, super happy in the chest area, cold in the hands, hot in the feet, right? So we like to say we want kids to name their emotions and people to name their emotions, and that's really important. But the way we know how an emotion is labeled for us is how it feels in the body. And whether it's a pleasant feeling, that then we usually relate to a pleasant emotion, or if it's an unpleasant feeling, then we usually relate that to an unpleasant emotion. High energy emotions feel like more energy in our body. Anger is a high energy emotion. Anxiety is a high anger. Anger is a high energy emotion. Anxiety is a high energy emotion. Happiness, joy, excitement, those are also high energy emotions. But then you go, okay, I feel high energy, but is it pleasant or unpleasant? And that can start to help you narrow down, like, where are you feeling it in your body? How does it actually feel? And what is it trying to tell me? What's the message that the emotion and the sensation is trying to tell me? Think of lower energy emotions and how that might feel in your body, or where you might feel it, right? You might feel heaviness, you might feel droopy, you might feel flat or empty or hollow. To me, those are all a little more low energy sensations that go with lower energy emotions. And then you go, but am I relaxed? Is that more peaceful and calm? Is that more pleasant? Or is it like depressed or numb or disconnected, which to me feels more unpleasant, right? So this is how you start to make these distinctions between what your emotions and your body's sensations are trying to tell you. So now that you have an idea of what you'll be doing, I'd like to just have you take a few moments to take some soft belly breaths with me and check in with your body. And as you do that, you can notice or just ask yourself, what am I noticing in my body right now? And there's no need to fix it or change it. We're just noticing. Because awareness is the first step to creating any sort of change. And then I'm going to invite you to begin drawing your body. Now you can simply make a gingerbread person shape, or maybe there's another shape that you want to make your body. Maybe your body feels like a big blob today. Maybe your body feels like a square. It's okay if your body shape isn't exactly what you feel like, or what it looks like, I should say, but you could also just draw gingerbread, just very simply with arms and legs and a head and a torso. And then start to put colors or words, symbols, shapes. You could put, if your heart feels warm and expansive, then find a shape and a color that expresses that. You might want to pause the video to take some time for this, but I'll also just keep giving you some ideas and suggestions as we move on. Sensation words, feelings are temperature, like hot, cold, warm, cool. You might notice tension, tightness, spaciousness, relaxation, knottedness. There are also fun words that you can explore, like sparkly and bubbly and gooey and heavy or light, electric, explosive. Wobbly was a good one, right? Dizzy. There's no right or wrong in this because this is 100% your own experience. So I want you to just take as much time as you need. Maybe you, again, want to pause, put on some music, and take several minutes for this. But when you are finished, I invite you to just take a moment to notice. Look at your page, notice what you drew. And just sit with it for a moment. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an exercise that you can do, especially if you noticed a lot of discomfort, emotional or physical discomfort or pain in your body. So my invitation to you is, especially if your whole body or most of your body feels unpleasant, is to find one tiny, tiny, tiny little spot, doesn't matter how small it is, that feels neutral or okay or a little less uncomfortable than everything else. And if you can find that one little spot, it might be the tip of your pinky, it might be the tip of your nose, it might be the spot right between your eyes or right at the tip of your chin or at the crust of your ear. Find one little spot that feels neutral or okay. And you can touch it if you want, if that's helpful, but you don't have to. And just take some time, a few breaths, maybe just a minute to be with that spot and be in the neutrality and the okayness. And the reason we do this is that no matter how terrible we feel like our bodies feel sometimes, there's always one little tiny spot, whether it's external, like some of these I mentioned, or it's internal, that actually feels better than everything else. But we have to find it. And if we find it and we can bring our attention to it, even for a few breaths or a few moments or a minute, it tells our brain, our body, and our nervous system that actually there is a little bit of possibility or hope in something different. It tells us that even though we might feel like we always feel the same 100% of the time, 100% all over our entire body. It's not actually true, and that opens up a little space of opportunity for something different. The thing is that our body sensations and emotions are constantly changing throughout the day, and if we don't pause to notice those changes or that there's something different, then we start to actually believe that it's always the same all the time. And that narrows our possibilities and our choices in how we deal with that discomfort and stress. That can really shut down our brain and our mind and make things feel more hopeless or like there's nothing we can do. That can easily lead into more anxiety or more depression, right? So just finding that one tiny little spot is actually your little spark, your little glimmer of hope and something different and a chance for healing. When I started doing this, I think I found 1 or 0.5% of my body. My therapist, my somatic therapist asked me, what is the percentage of safety you feel or the sense of okayness you feel in your body? And she said, can you find 1%? And I said, no, I can't, but I can find 0.5%. And in that 0.5%, all of a sudden there was space for something different, for feeling even just a teeniest bit of safety and like okayness in my body opened up my mind and the possibility in my nervous system for healing, for something new. So I invite you to find that even if most of the time you feel like there's pain or discomfort, finding even just a little bit is the key to moving into building your window of tolerance and building your resilience and feeling like, and building your confidence for handling stress and big emotions. So thank you for joining today. I invite you to continue throughout your week to just check in. How's my body feeling? Is my heart racing? Does it feel pretty steady? What's my breath doing? Do I feel tension in my shoulders? Oh, yes, I do. I'm going to just take a moment and wiggle them out. Oh, I feel some clenching in my jaw. Maybe I need to take a few deep breaths or stand up and move away from my desk, even if it's just for 30 seconds or 1 minute. These little micro practices are what build our nervous system resilience and capacity. So I invite you to play with that this week. And next week, we'll play with expanding in a little bit more into these places that feel okay or neutral. All right, enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and I will see you next time. Take care.